We just don't have this happen down here, so it was kind of a shock for us.
It was the first murder in Atlantic Beach in more than a decade, the third in the town's history. Longtime visitor Randy Miller was murdered while preparing for a fishing trip early one morning. Tonight, there are few leads, obstacles for investigators, and loved ones without answers. News Channel 12 investigates. Tyler Harden is looking into the case and brings us a candid conversation with the police chief.
Well, this is the first murder case Chief Jeff Harvey has worked without a quick resolution. This one happening early in the morning, a time when people go on a jog or walk their dog. And now while the community waits, local, state, and federal agencies are working against time to find the killer. Tonight, Chief Harvey tells me 350 days after the fatal stabbing, he's staying optimistic justice will be done.
I believe that it is solvable. I just think it's going to take some more time. It's going to take some luck.
Luck for authorities to find who killed Randy Miller on August 29, 2022. Atlantic Beach Police Chief Jeff Harvey was one of the first on the case. Now a year later, he's still working to close it.
We just don't have that smoking gun quite yet. Most of the time, homicides are done by people that know each other. And this was just one of those that we can't piece together as to why it happened.
The motive is still unclear. Randy's valuables were left at the scene. His truck and boat went untouched.
It was senseless. Nothing was taken. There was no point for it.
This surveillance video from the morning of the murder shows 3 suspects walking up and down Atlantic Boulevard.
This was not their first time breaking into vehicles anyhow. They seemed to know what they were doing. They had their faces covered. They had gloves on.
Then shortly before 5:45 that morning, one of the suspects broke off from the others and hid feet away from Randy. At the time, the 65-year-old was walking in and out of the garage, getting his boat ready for a day of fishing.
I don't think Mr. Miller did anything to be targeted other than loading up his boat. I honestly think he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Chief Harvey says seconds after Randy put a cooler in the boat, the suspect made a move.
You can see him on the video to where he just takes off in a crouch, and you hear both of them scream. They come together, they fall apart, it's done.
Randy was stabbed in the heart and died 34 minutes later. An autopsy reveals the knife went 6 inches into his chest. Chief Harvey says the suspect stood over Randy for 30 seconds before neighbors came out and they ran off.
It took approximately 1 minute and 30 seconds for the first officer to show up. In that time, the perpetrators were able to get away in their vehicle. We missed the car by about 15 seconds. So that's frustrating.
Investigators are focusing on this getaway vehicle, but this town goes from 1,500 to 30,000 people in one weekend.
Once we can identify 100% vehicle and then start working with the perpetrators.
Chief Harvey says they have sifted through hundreds of tips, hours of video, DMV records, and cell phone logs with the help of the FBI, Secret Service, and North Carolina SBI. But at the agency's Raleigh headquarters, there's a backlog.
I think that's the major holdup, and then just kind of piecing together what we have, because we don't have anything substantial from the initial point of the homicide happening.
So this case has not run cold?
I wouldn't say it's run cold. It's slowed down because of waiting on technology to get us the information that we need.
Technology this agency has to enhance grainy images like this. But for nearly 9 months after Randy's murder, investigators held onto it before releasing it to the public.
We're not finding things on our own. We're not doing it. Let's put it out now and see if somebody may notice something. So could it have been put out sooner? Probably so. If I had to do it again, would I do it sooner? Probably so.
In the days and weeks after Randy's murder, detectives went door to door, talking with neighbors and business owners, and conducted interviews with people of interest. At one point using a canine to track scents and a metal detector to find the murder weapon, but it didn't turn up anything.
This is the house.
Chief Harvey took me back to where it happened.
What was the reason for this homicide? We don't see any clear reason for it.
He shared this message for the person who did it.
I hope the guilt just tears them up to where they do turn themselves in, because nothing was gained and everything was lost, you know? Somebody can clear their conscience, do their time, do the right thing, and they get to move on. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter what happens, Susan's still without a husband, the friends are still without a friend, and, you know, our citizens are still concerned that this can happen again.
And Chief Harvey tells me he does not know where the suspects are from, whether from Eastern Carolina or out of the state. He called in the SBI to help an hour after the murder. The state agency is the lead on this investigation with more tools at their disposal. Now this time next week, how policing is changing in Atlantic Beach since Randy's murder, and what's your role in helping solve crimes like this? Now to see our previous in-depth stories, visit our website, WCTI12.com, and click on the News Channel 12 Investigates tab. If you have something you want the News Channel 12 Investigates team to look into, call, text, or email us as we hold the powerful accountable.